How's it going, everyone? I'm incredibly jet lagged right now, but it has come to my attention, as you can see on your screen right now. Many sectors in the stock market are selling off, while at the same time, some of the more beaten up industries last year, or like in the past 3 years, they're booming. We talk about the health insurance stocks like United Health, Humana, Centene, HVAC, and of course the data center memory stocks. They're soaring to all-time historical highs. More specifically, let's talk about Microsoft, Google, Meta, Oracle, and of course Amazon's sell-off. What you see is the past 1 week, Google in the red, what is that, rounding up 8%, Meta 4%, Oracle 19%. And I think I can sum it up like this. The current narrative, really simple, really easy to understand. Artificial intelligence, capital expenditures, the cash flow that you spend building out physical buildings and equipment, in this case data centers, is bad. It's bad for business because it's very expensive and it pretty much burns all of your excess cash flow, all of your free cash flow. Essentially, all of your profits are going right out the window in order to build out more data centers. And at this point in time, the return on investment, the ROI, is vague. We really don't know if the hyperscalers are gonna make a tremendous amount of money back from building these data centers out, right? They're throwing down 50, 70, 80 billion dollars in a single fiscal calendar year. Will they recoup their costs, right? I think that's the biggest question. And that's why the thing is, big money, hedge funds, amateur investors, they're getting FOMO, the fear of missing out, and they're jumping into the overpriced, not really, because on paper they're trading multiples, single digit number like an 8 or a 9, but they're buying the memory and the storage stocks. And of course the chip makers. So the names include SanDisk, Broadcom, Marvell, Seagate, Micron, and the list goes on and on. Why? Why are they buying into that instead of Microsoft, Google, or Meta? Because the picks and shovels, in this case, the supply chain bottleneck, are essentially able to charge whatever they want because there's not enough to go around. And by buying into Micron and SanDisk and Seagate and the others, the investors get to see immediate ROI and fat margins for the time being. Whereas for the hyperscalers, we're not seeing it yet because they're still building it out. So where does that leave me? It's like most things in life, it takes time to see the results. I think for most people, they treat the stock market like it's a casino. You go in and you pull on the lever, the slot machine, or you're playing blackjack. You want to see immediate 50, 100% ROI right now and then. Otherwise, you're going to get antsy, pissed off, or you're going to sell out of everything and jump into the next FOMO investment. But for me, here's how I think of it, right? It kind of reminds me of Walmart and Amazon spending a crap ton of money building out their distribution and supply chain networks to become dominant in retail. So that happened in the 1980s for Walmart and in the early 2000s for Amazon. For the longest time, Amazon, they were unprofitable because they were building out all of their distribution centers. And believe it or not, there was a ton of pushback from Wall Street because of the capex required to build out all the freaking infrastructure. They're like, why are you spending money building out warehouses and trucking facilities? Stop it. The retailers that did not invest in e-commerce warehouses and fulfillment centers, they got left behind. A lot of them went bankrupt. So now the big two is Walmart and Amazon. And then of course there's other retailers that stayed relevant, like Costco, because of a very interesting business model, operating a warehouse club membership that has a food court, but also by turning nearly all of their aisles into private labels. The Kirkland brand. So my thinking is this: if you take a look at history, every major technological advancement, it required a boom in capex. And then once the industry reached scale, like saturation, and the numbers do not make sense to build out more of whatever it is that you're building, things cooled down. When you think about the fiber networks, the railroads, Walmart and Amazon's distribution centers. Yes, they're still opening some up, but not at the aggressive scale like they did decades ago. So in the short run, I don't blame you if you're buying into Micron, Seagate, SanDisk, and I guess SK Hynix and all the other memory stocks. I don't blame you, okay? But over the long run, I will stand on this hill. I do think the biggest beneficiaries of this entire AI data center boom will be the hyperscalers. So when we think about Google, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, and of course, some of the software application business operations, the ones that are in tier 2 and tier 3, not so much tier 4. So even though Microsoft, Amazon, Google, they're selling off, why am I bullish? Think about it like this. The data centers, it's the infrastructure that's going to be in place to support more YouTube videos to be uploaded, cloud storage, and chatbots that should drive meaningful revenue in the future. The key word there being the future. It's going to take patience. And if you take a look at their numbers right now, they're still executing at a very high level, double-digit growth across the board for the high-quality names. When it comes to Copilot, Gemini, and some of the other AI endeavors, I think the game plan right now is to get the masses, the consumers all around the world, the people hooked, addicted to using the free AI services until one day it's no longer going to be free, and it's going to come to a point where they're going to pay for them because they're not going to be able to think without asking a question or a prompt to ChatGPT or Gemini, like what color shirt should I wear for my interview? They're not going to be able to have the ability to think by themselves and be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sign up for this subscription and I'll ask AI. And when that happens, like 3, potentially 4 years down the road, the revenue is going to be amplified for the hyperscalers. I also think it's a case of Borat in Kazakhstan, right? If your neighbor gets something that's big and juicy and awesome looking, then you're also going to want something that is just as beautiful in your front yard, right? So I think big tech, right now, the name of the game, they're copying one another and spending billions of dollars on data centers because they don't want to be left behind. I think they're looking into the future 10 to 20 years down the road. And as a society and the workforce, we're becoming more and more reliant on AI features and capabilities in order to optimize our workflow. Like if you work in corporate America right now, be honest with me. Are you utilizing AI on a day-to-day basis, especially to help extrapolate data, to analyze workflows, and to do whatever, right? 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, you had to do everything manually. So I think AI is a good thing for the most part. I digress. What I'm saying is, as soon as one of the big dogs that are spending $50 to $80 billion on capex right now, as soon as one of them on the next earnings report announces that they're going to cut back on capex guidance, their stock price is going to absolutely rip. Changing gears a bit, something else that big tech is known for is bringing third-party products in-house to boost margins. Just take a look at Apple and what they did with the M series chips and the A series chips on the iPhones. I think Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, they're going to continue to spend billions of dollars on R&D until they can manufacture their own AI chips so that they can stop paying the NVIDIA tax. I guess we can also include AMD and Broadcom into this conversation. So when the AI data center capex boom eventually cools, calling it right now. I think Micron, SanDisk, AMD, NVIDIA, Marvell, Broadcom, they're gonna get absolutely shattered and demolished. I mean, right now we're at the peak, we're at the boom, right? We're building out data centers left and right all over the country, but eventually that's gonna come to a halt. It's going to cool down and slow down because it doesn't make sense to continue to build out data centers if you're at scale, if you're at saturation, if the ROI does not make sense. So my whole thing is, once the data centers are built, up and running, the hyperscalers, Meta, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and others, they're going to continue to utilize that hardware for years instead of replacing it on a cadence that's aggressive like every quarter or every few years. And instead, they're going to improve the performance of the data center chips primarily through software updates. That's what I'm thinking. So, over the long run, I do think Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, I think right now, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm doubling down on Microsoft. What are you guys doing? You let me know.
Stocks that compound and dividends, please. Welcome to investing with a side of cheese, where balance sheets matter and cash flows get fatter. But hey, I'm not a financial advisor.